Thank you. Senator Hirono.
Thank you to our co-chairs, Senators Sanders and Representative Miller, for holding today's conference. Millions of veterans are counting on us to get this right, so this conference committee has an important task in the coming days ahead, and that is to finalize legislation that, in my view, should focus on three things. First, we have to directly address the emergency circumstances that have been uncovered at the Veterans Administration. Two, ensure that all of our veterans receive access to the care that they deserve. Three, begin the longer-term work of restoring veterans' trust, not only in the VA, but in Congress's ability to effectively oversee the VA and provide the resources needed to care for our veterans. And listening to my fellow colleagues and conferees today, I believe we can come to an agreement on this bill. Chairman Sanders, you got it exactly right when you said that the situation at the VA is an emergency. And Senator McCain today also described the situation as an emergency. A recent audit of the VA in Hawaii found that veterans are waiting over 140 days to receive care, the longest in the country. A more recent update found that while progress is being made, that number is still over 100 days. Nationwide, nearly 60,000 veterans are waiting simply to get an appointment. Of course, that is unacceptable to all of us. Nearly the entire Senate agrees that this is an emergency and that Congress has to act to provide the resources necessary to provide care immediately. And I'm hopeful that we can all agree on that point. However, while I hope we all agree that this is an emergency and that we will provide the resources necessary as a result, I hope that this committee will not ignore the task of addressing the VA's long-term needs. Veterans generally approve of the quality of care that they receive from the VA when they receive it. And I hope that we will include provisions in the Senate-passed legislation that provide for 26 major medical facility leases and provide for the resources and authority to expedite hiring of VA doctors and nurses. In addition, while I agree that accountability of executives is needed, we should avoid politicizing the non-appointed civil service process and allow some due process for VA employees, even as appropriate disciplinary actions are taken. Our veterans rely on the services of qualified, committed professionals at VA, and we should be doing more to attract more of these people, particularly people who view service to our veterans as a noble career path and not a stopover on the way to something else. I hope that this committee will recognize the long-term benefits of attracting a high-quality workforce to VA and that we can improve accountability in a carefully balanced way. A quality workforce and quality facilities are long-term investments in our veterans, investments that we need to make to ensure that all veterans have access to high-quality VA care. Investment in the VA is an essential step towards building back the trust of our veterans. And I recognize that expanding access to non-VA providers is needed to immediately address this emergency. And with this expansion, we must ensure every veteran in our country, whether rural or urban, can easily get the care they need if the VA is not available. For Hawaii veterans, that should include being able to get care from community health centers, Department of Defense facilities, or from the Native Hawaiian healthcare system. But that doesn't mean that getting care outside of the system is the long-term solution. I do not support an approach that will lead to atrophy of the VA. I do not support voucherizing VA. I do support congressional leadership and action that addresses the current emergency, ensures our veterans can access the care that they deserve, and lays the groundwork. This is important that we stay the course so that the VA can effectively address long-term needs. I thank you. Yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Senator. Congresswoman Walorski.